Live from Testa Field on the campus of Norwalk High School, it's Varsity Boys Soccer on the DAF Media Network. Tonight, we've got a good one. The Norwalk Bears at home under the lights against the Darien Blue Wave. Winner moves on to the FCIAC tournament. Hi, everybody. I'm Damian Andrews. So glad you could be with us on this DAF Media broadcast of Varsity Boys Soccer. Joining me tonight, none other than former Blue Wave soccer star himself, Eric Cannigan. And Eric, this is a big one. This is like a wild card playoff game in baseball. Winner moves on to the conference tournament.
Yes, Damian, thank you for having me back. And like you said, you took the words right out of my mouth. This is essentially a wild card game for the Wave today, so they have everything to play for here. Tons of FCIAC playoff implications, so there is really no alternative other than to win this game. So it'll be interesting to see how John Bradley's team responds. Last game, they got a resounding 4-0 win against St. Joe's away with a Sears hat trick, so he'll be one to watch tonight. But like you said, this is a very special occasion. It is Norwalk's senior night, so they are going to be looking to play the role of spoilers. So we'll see how they can perform tonight.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better than this. Final game of the regular season for these two FCIAC rivals. And it means a lot, as right now Norwalk is in 7th place in the FCIAC standings. Darien on the outside looking in that 9th spot in terms of the FCIAC playoff picture. But again, a win over Norwalk tonight on their home turf, and the Blue Wave move on to the FCIAC tournament. And really, as we talked about last week on our broadcast, when Darien lost to West Hill, they needed to win 2 of their last 3 to be assured of a spot in the FCIAC tournament. And they beat, after they lost to West Hill, they beat St. Joe's. You talked about the Charlie Sears hat trick. And if they can win tonight, then they will move on to the FCIAC tournament.
That's correct, and just based off the structure of the FCIAC tournament, Darien, a win would put them even on points with Norwalk, but it would be that head-to-head result. That would be the difference, so that would push Darien into the very monumental FCIAC tournament. So again, everything to play for here as Norwalk look to start the game off. And I spoke to John Bradley before the game, and he said they are really looking to apply high pressure from the start. And we'll see how that plays out. I know his teams tend to sit back a little bit, play more conservatively, but again, they can't afford that tonight. A draw will really not do, except for some extreme circumstances, so they're looking for a win right away. And a quick foul from Will Henry Harmon, setting the tone. It looks like, it came just early enough in the game where the ref's just going to give him a brief speaking to. But again, that's a good tackle from Harmon to set the tone here. And we'll see Lance Garcia play in the free kick. Just as I say that, he runs towards the box.
And that'll be
Julian Mandujano with the free kick, and he'll look to put it in a dangerous area. Floats one in.
And
looks like a Norwalk head.
That is wide of the near post. You talked about Darien head coach John Bradley. He has the utmost respect for Norwalk's Chris Lawton, the Bears' longtime head coach. When I was doing some research for this game, Lawton in his 13th season as the Norwalk Bears boys soccer varsity coach. So he has been around a while and has done a terrific job with this program. Norwalk always has talented players, and they always seem to be near the top of the FCIAC standings.
And again, Norwalk really looking to hold possession here and control the game off the start. And they're doing a pretty good job of it so far.
Norwalk in the green uniforms, moving from right to left on your screen. Darien in the white uniforms with the blue numbers, moving from left to right on your screen. Ball on the far side of the field. And that'll be a Norwalk throw-in here. Just underway here. Big game, regular season finale for both of these teams. And it all comes down to this final game for them in terms of a spot in the FCIAC tournament. Damian Andrew, Eric Hannigan joining you. Thanks for joining us on the DAF Media Network, a joint venture of the Darien Athletic Foundation and the Darien Foundation. We're going to give a shout out to our DAF Media production crew in just a moment here, and we will do that now. On camera 1 is George Holt, camera 2, Harrison Nichols, and our director tonight, for the first time, Sarah Bogdan, sitting in that chair.
And we can see so far Darien really have not gotten a foothold in the offensive half, although we'll see here Johan Tripatelli taking the ball out wide. But it looks like Norwalk are really trying to keep possession and keep Darien off the ball. Obviously, I think they're aware of the significance of this one as well. So Darien obviously will have to continue to push in this game, or they face the harsh reality of not being able to play in the FCIAC tournament.
The Norwalk seniors were honored before this game, a nice brief ceremony. We've had some weather that came in earlier this evening during our setup. As you had texted me, the skies just opened up and we had a real downpour. Could see some more weather as this game progresses. A good crowd on hand, as you would expect for this one.
That's a great ball from Connor Olson on the right. A nice touch of skill to get past the Norwalk defender. He sends one in a little too high and didn't have enough curve to bring that towards the middle, but very encouraging signs from Darien to be pushing off the start. But yes, Damien, I mean, it looks like the rain is holding off just for the time being, but very likely could begin again, which adds another dimension to this game. But again, I think these players are skilled enough to know how to handle some more treacherous conditions.
Well, as you know, it's always fun playing in lousy weather, right?
It was actually one of my favorite times to play when the rain would come down. It adds an extra dimension to it. As a defender, it isn't the best thing in the world when the ball skips over your foot, but it allows for, you know, some easier slide tackles, and again, it just creates a really unique atmosphere you really don't get any other time.
I want to thank everybody for watching.
And it looks like Norwalk will take a throw here. No incredibly strong opportunities for either side thus far. Although, again, Norwalk keeping good possession of the ball, as we see right here. I was told by John Bradley that their two outside wingers are incredibly talented players, which is part of the reason why you see Freeman out here on the right flank and Will Henry Harmon on the left. He wants to be able to combat those talented wingers with some talented defenders of their own. So they're going to be looking to shut those wingers down, prevent any opportunities coming from the outside, and ideally show them the line and get that ball out of bounds or out of the dangerous area.
Ball rolls out of bounds on the far side of the field. No score here, under 35 minutes remaining in the first half between these two teams. Norwalk in 7th place in the FCIAC playoff picture. Darien in 9th. Top 8 teams make the conference tournament, and whoever wins this game will find a spot in that tournament.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned on the last broadcast, Damien, that really Darien ideally would not want to leave it into the hands of another team to determine their fate, and really it is up to them tonight. So while they may not have wanted a game of this significance as the very last game of the season, it stands in their hands. So really it is up to them how they progress and what happens, whether or not they qualify for the FCIAC tournament. Great header from Will Henry Harmon on the left flank again, looking to combat those talented Norwalk wingers.
Eric, your impressions so far in this one? Both teams kind of still feeling each other out here, as you would expect. Both teams might be a little bit tight, as you would expect with the magnitude of this one.
Absolutely, and you really took the words right out of my mouth. I think they're trying to feel each other out here, try and play slightly cautiously, but again, I think John in his pregame talk has made the players aware, not that they weren't already, that they really need to go out there and attack for a goal. And you can see they are pushing a little more offensively than they may have at the start of the season, which I think is a sign that they're cognizant of the significance of this one. But again, we see Elias Vetter pretty isolated up top. He isn't getting too much support. It looks like Johan Tripitelli playing slightly in behind him. And again, you have Connor Olsen on the right flank, who is really going to be looking to push that Norwalk defense wide and down the flank. But we see here a free kick for Norwalk.
You take a look at Michael Hidalgo, number 11 for Norwalk, and he is a guy that Darien needs to mark throughout this match because he is a talented player. Scored the game winner in the state quarterfinals against Ridgefield last year in 2 overtimes, as we do have a free kick for the Norwalk Bears.
And this is actually Mateo Davalas on the ball. Floats one in. Nice header by Harmon again to get that ball out. Vetter applying some pressure, but again, he is very isolated up top. It's interesting that John hasn't instructed the team, or the players aren't providing enough support here, as Norwalk sees some space.
There's Hidalgo.
And that's exactly why John plays Freeman there on the right. As you were just discussing, Hidalgo, very talented player, but Freeman might be one of the best tacklers on this Wave team. And as you can see, he combats and holds off that attack just perfectly and clears the ball. But again, Norwalk had the opportunity to reset on this one.
Matthew Freeman you're talking about, number 21, the senior for the Wave. These are two teams that really have had similar outcomes in their opponents this season. Darien lost to McMahon, Stamford, Ward, and West Hill. And Norwalk, they lost to West Hill and Stamford, tied Trumbull, Danbury, and Staples, and Darien also had ties against Trumbull and Danbury. And Trumbull and Danbury, two of the top teams, the top 2 teams in the conference right now. Trumbull would be the number 1 seed if the playoffs were to start today, and Danbury the number 2 seed. So interesting that they've had similar results against their common opponents.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point, and you'll see a nice attack here from Tripitelli. He'll look to use a little bit of skill, but the Norwalk defender holds him off just fine, and they'll look to counter. Very dangerous opportunity on the left. We'll see how Harmon can deal with it. But as you just mentioned, I think that speaks to why we see them so close at the table. Just 3 points separate these two teams. Darien coming in with a 7-4-4 record. That's 4 losses, 4 draws, and Norwalk coming in at 8-3-4. So really, it's two teams that are playing at a very similar level this season, which may be an anomaly relative to seasons of the past, but again, this is why they're playing what is essentially an FCIAC wildcard game tonight, which for a spectator is all you can ask for.
Oh, yeah, no, you and I talked about this earlier in the day. This is exciting stuff. I mean, it comes down to the final game, final match of the regular season between two teams that have had a healthy rivalry through the years. Longtime head coaches, John Bradley for Darien, Chris Lawton for Norwalk.
Yeah, and seldom do you come across a situation where a team is really playing for one win in the last game of the season. A lot of times you'll see a team resting its starters for the upcoming FCIAC tournament or with nothing to play for. But again, both of these teams have everything to play for. The FCIAC tournament is really the pinnacle, in my opinion, of the two tournaments. And again, you can see the atmosphere tonight. You can see how the players are looking to push a little more than they typically do as Tripitelli goes on the attack. Quick step over.
And that is far or wide of the far post. So an opportunity there for Darien slips by.
Yeah, and again, that's Johan Tripitelli. Looked to curl that one in with his left foot, but really couldn't wrap that foot around the ball just enough. It looks like the goalkeeper may have had an opportunity to save it had it been on target, but very promising from Tripitelli. Again, just applying that pressure on the Norwalk back line, pushing them back, and getting a nice shot.
Gianluca Trofa is the keeper for Norwalk. He's also their captain, senior. And I don't know, I've always said I like Will Henry Harmon. Gianluca Trofa might be my new favorite name as the Bears now attack here in the Darien end.
Yeah, and McElhoe's looking to play the role of cleanup there. Norwalk loft went in.
You know, we saw Hidalgo head that. He is so quick to the ball, so much speed.
Yeah, and really there wasn't a whole lot that he could have done in that situation. He did exactly what he needed to, try and head it back into the box. Unfortunately, none of his Norwalk players were there for support. But again, to be able to get to that ball and get a head on it shows how talented this kid is.
Norwalk's last FCIAC title came in 2012. They actually shared that championship with Ridgefield. They won it outright in 2002. So as I mentioned at the outset of the broadcast, the Bears, as you know, Eric Cannigan, have had a lot of success through the years, not only in the conference, but in the state tournament as well. 4 trips to the state finals. Last one was in 2012. They beat Fairfield Prep to win it all. 2-0 was the final of that one. And that ball rolls across the end line. And so it's going to be a corner kick here for the Blue Wave. And there's no surprise who will take that corner kick. Charlie Sears heads down into the near corner on the right side of your screen. Number 32, as you mentioned earlier, had a hat trick last game out against St. Joe's. 3 goals and a 4-0 win.
Yeah, he really is Darien's go-to player. Incredibly talented as he whips one in there and it just goes through the Norwalk defense. And look at this counter off the start. And that
Jack Hawley nice
cleaned up.
Takeaway, yeah.
Beat me to it. But yeah, you were getting into this Norwalk program, and I really don't think there's a better word to describe it than a juggernaut of a program. I mean, our season 2011 in the fall, we came to test the field, and we were actually, I think, either tied or close on points with Norwalk at the top of the table, and they just absolutely dominated that one and left us with our tails between our legs. And you know, it speaks to the amount of talent that they constantly get year after year, speaks to the coaching that they have, and again, it's just one of those programs that's really looking to be strong in the FCIAC's end states every single season. And it looks like Norwalk will have a free kick just around midfield. But Darien's defense has really looked very composed and calm so far. Nothing really has tested this defense to a great extent, which Norwalk will look to change, in a great flick-on header there. But that's right into the hands of the senior Christian Plumby, who gets that ball immediately upfield.
Christian Plumby in goal for Darien.
Jack Hawley with some great skill there. Looks to just slip in.
Lance Garcia with a nice clear for Norwalk there.
Norwalk's defense will have some time to reset as Darien look to take the throw. It's Will Henry Harmon plays one in, and it'll go out for a goal kick.
This is a Norwalk team, Eric, that last year finished the regular season 9-5-2, and then went on a big-time run in the state tournament, and ultimately losing in the state semis to Naugatuck in double overtime, 1-0. You talk about a heartbreaking loss, but to make that kind of run where they did not obviously dominate the conference during the regular season. 7 starters graduated from that team last year as the ball is near midfield here.
Yeah, and I think that says a couple of things about the situation, one of which being really the FCIAC conference is just so strong for a Norwalk team to have what is, you know, an above average record in the regular season and then go on to the state semis. Speaks to the competition that they face in the FCIACs. It also says a lot about that state tournament where really anything can happen. You know, you get matched up against seeds who may not be in a position that reflects how they performed in the regular season based on competition in their respective conferences. And it also speaks to, you know, the attitude and mentality of a team in the playoffs. I mean, you get in the tournament, and at that point it's fair game for most teams. You know, you were good enough to qualify, and why can't you make the semis? That foul on a Darien player there gets the crowd into this one. And Hidalgo is just dispossessed on that left flank. But Norwalk quickly win that back. That'll just come off the Norwalk player as we see some scrappy play in the midfield, a number of transitions in possession there. Again, Norwalk really giving it everything to try and put pressure on Charlie Sears in that back line, but for the time being, they're really holding him off properly.
Well, if you enjoy high school soccer, this is the matchup for you. And we appreciate everybody tuning in, who is tuning in on the DAF Media Network. DAF Media Network is a joint venture of the Darien Athletic Foundation and the Darien Foundation.
Some good play on this left flank again, but ball goes out for a Darien throw. It seems that everything on this Norwalk attack is channeling down the left side for the time being. We've seen a number of counterattacks come on the right, but again, they're looking to play to their strong player, Michael Hidalgo, on the left and see if they can test the Darien defense.
And once again, I want to give a shout out to our DAF Media production crew. Doing a terrific job bringing you all the sights and sounds of this one. Camera 1, George Holt. Camera 2, our ISO camera is Harrison Nichols, who has owned that camera through many broadcasts. And our director is Sarah Bogdan. And just showing up and doing some instant replay is Chase Gulick.
We just saw a great tackle from Freeman on that right side. And again, John knows exactly why he deployed him on that side. He's able to put in those challenges and really play that role of critical defender and really proving to be a tough nut to crack for this Norwalk defense thus far. Good ball up the field, and look at that touch.
And a nice save.
I mean, that was just incredible skill from Jack Hawley, playing striker. Takes it with his foot, flicks it past the defender, goes on and challenges the goalkeeper. And a good save from Trofa. And that's just very smart play from Freeman. He contains him. He doesn't jump in. He could have run straight at the Norwalk attacker. allows the support to come in and clean that ball up. I mean, you really can't overstate how well played that was from Freeman. And a loose ball from Norwalk there. And again, Freeman will pump this ball up the field. Connor Olsen, great tackle there. McElhoe's trying to break up the play as much as possible in those midfield areas.
Here's Sears.
Very good look for 1-2 with Tripatelli there. Norwalk is forced to clear that one out of bounds, but again, this is looking like a different Darien team from that West Hill game that we saw, Damien, and they're really applying pressure early, and it's just very organized in that midfield and in the back, which is something that we haven't seen in the games we've broadcasted before, so it's refreshing to see that.
Here comes Norwalk attacking. And
it's a great tackle from Cole Bronca, I think, cleans that one up. Again, the defending is just so good from Darien so far. We've seen a number of tackles from Will Henry Harmon and from Charlie Sears and Freeman. They're all really getting stuck in here tonight, which is all you can ask for from this defense, and they're really leaving it up to those few attacking players to do their part as well.
And the ball is knocked out of bounds by Norwalk. Freeman the throw-in.
It'll be interesting to see how Norwalk's defense can deal with this surmounting pressure from Darien. It's coming from both sides. It's coming up the middle from a number of different sources. And this is exactly how Bradley's team needs to play if they want to snag a goal here and really set the tone for the rest of the match. That's a soft call in my opinion. They were both going for that ball, and Norwalk player landed on the grounds, but the referee called it, so they'll have some time to reset.
Just took a look at the save there by Gianluca Trofa.
Yeah, and good save. He did what he really had to do and, you know, kept that ball out from a strong Darien attack. So, if anything, it may have looked like an easier save, but it'll give him all the confidence in the world going forward for any test that Darien bring him. Good pressure again from Darien's defense, and they're going to look to flip the script here as they take a small pause before the throw-in. Looks like Harmon's taking that throw on the left. Not quite sure what happened there. It looks like a foul throw, if anything. And just like that, Norwalk will be on the attack.
And as you can see, we are more than halfway through this opening 40 minutes. About 14-10 remaining. No score. Both teams have had some opportunities. Darien in the last few minutes have had some really good looks at the goal. I don't know what it is about Testa Field. Been coming here for years. I just love this facility. It's been around for a while, and it's just it's spacious. They got great stands on both sides of the field.
They do, and it's a little of that, you know, tucked away field with the woods at the back goal, and you know it feels like it almost plays the role of a soundboard with the fans when they are loud and cheering. Just to provide that bit of echo, and you know it's a great atmosphere. There have been some big games here in the past for sure, and again a big night for Darien on the road. They have notched 5 wins away from home this season, which is the majority of their wins. So they're going to be looking to add to that tally tonight.
Sometimes there's less pressure when you're away from home and on the road, and that certainly has been the case for Darien this season.
Yes, and I mean, Damien, you and I have been at a number of games at the football stadium, or stadium field as they call it in Darien. And, you know, it's not the field that the boys typically play on, so that might factor into some things. But like you said, you know, they have everything to play for on the road. They want to play the role of spoiler tonight, so everything kind of comes into play in how this game can play out.
Norwalk, by the way, coming off a 2-1 loss to Fairfield Ludlow. And you talk about motivation. They know what they have to do this evening, as does Darien.
Yes, and Ludlow are a good side. I believe they're fourth in the table currently in the FCIAC. But again, you know, this Norwalk team can either respond in one of two ways.
Ball goes down into the corner as Olsen fights for it. And
look to have come off the Norwalk player.
That will be a goal kick here. Yeah, you mentioned Fairfield Ludlow in the fourth spot. Trumbull, the top spot. Danbury, Fairfield Ward, Ludlow, Greenwich, Staples, Norwalk, McMahon, Darien. Those are the top 9 teams right now.
Lots of strong programs in that lineup that you just listed, Damien. And again, these are programs with great historical records. And, you know, I spoke a little bit about how the FCIAC tournament tends to feel like it has more weight than the state tournament because you're immediately thrown into a quarterfinal match. So, you know, you win one game and immediately you're in the semis, and it just adds to the whole feeling and the intensity that every single game in that tournament is essentially like playing a final. Sears will have some time here to let the attackers position themselves for this free kick, and he's really going to look to just loft this one over the top of the Norwalk back line, which he does with gusto. Unfortunately, into the hands of the keeper.
Trofa comes away with it. The DAF Media Network will be live streaming Friday's FCIAC quarterfinal game in field hockey. That is Friday. That'll be a 3:30 start at Stadium Field. It'll be a double dip on the DAF Media Network. We'll also be live streaming the football game that night, Darien Trumbull. And here's an opportunity for the Wave, but a nice defensive effort by Lance Garcia. He's come up big in this first half a couple of times for the Bears defensively. And he's a little hobbled out there, but nobody's leaving this game tonight.
No, I don't think so. And we've seen a number of times Jack Hawley has really pushed that Norwalk defense as far back as they can go. So far, they've proved that they can handle the threat. We've seen a nice save from Trofa, but again, Jack Hawley using his athleticism and pace to apply as much pressure as possible to this Bears defense. Good interception from Freeman, which is cleaned up by Marson, who's playing in a much deeper role than normal. Typically, we see him deployed as a forward, but looks like he's playing in that midfield spot today. Again, all part of what John is hoping to construct as a wild card win plan tonight. We'll see Will Henry Harmon put in a throw. Marson plays it back in, and Will plays a ball that's a little too long. Just outpaces Connor Olsen on the right.
You get the feeling there's a lot of time left, right? We're under 9 minutes remaining here in the first half, and then we've got another 40 minutes. But you get a feeling that goals are going to be at a premium this evening.
Yeah, and as a neutral, you really hope for that in a match like this. I just think as more time passes, Darien's going to find themselves getting a little anxious. And, you know, I think that could play out a number of ways, the most likely being, you know, they have to push too many players up the field, and Norwalk can counter with that pace that they have. But a great ball from Tripitelli there. Just out of Jack Hawley's reach, and Cole Bronca collects it to push that back in, and it goes out for Darien corner.
So another corner opportunity here for the Blue Wave. It'll be on the far side of the field.
And Charlie Sears again, the set piece master for this Wave team, is going to look to curl this one in, hopefully to the head of someone like Tripitelli or Marson. Cole Bronca as well, a tall presence. Tripitelli just gets ahead to it. Great play from Olsen to keep that ball in.
And here's Hidalgo on the near side of the field. And we've got a whistle.
And the ref's going to stop the clock. Either a yellow card coming or just a warning. Unfortunately, he reaches for his pocket, and
that's going to be a yellow card on Darien.
Yeah, and I think, if anything, it wasn't for any malice in the tackle. It was just for the circumstances in which he played that tackle. Norwalk were looking to break on the left, and he really made a tactical foul there to take the Norwalk player down. And you'll see at any level of this sport played, that'll typically pick you up a yellow card. It looks like Jacob Grimm
yeah,
has come in on the right.
Boy, we think a lot alike, Hannigan. Jacob Grimm coming in, Freeman departs.
Grimm, the junior, has to step into a very high-intensity match. Always difficult for a substitution, especially when you don't know a sub is coming, like in that yellow card situation. And again, he's tasked with having to cover Michael Hidalgo on the left, which is no easy job for him. So it'll be interesting to see how the junior can handle that pressure coming in off the bench. Great overhead effort. Tripitelli just flicks it over the crossbar there. Very athletic by Connor Olsen to get that ball back in. Acrobatic, kicks it over his head, and Tripitelli just gets ahead to it. But too much power behind that and not enough accuracy, and it falls just beyond the crossbar. Norwalk have a lot of space here on the attack. Tries to slip through to Hidalgo, and unfortunately, Damien, unlike us, they are not on the same page on that one. Great play from Tripitelli. Jack Hawley just goes beyond him. Oh, and what an effort.
We're going to take another look at that.
Ignacio Pacheco turns and shoots.
Great work by Harrison Nichols on our ISO camera there, and
great replay angle on that one. You'll see it just trickles by the left post. Again, it was interesting. He went across his body to really test the goalkeeper, which can be very hard for a keeper at any level to predict and react to. But fortunately for Trofa, it goes beyond his right post, our left post, as we see it from the broadcast booth.
Wave have had opportunities here in this first half, just have been unable to capitalize. We are still scoreless here, under 5 minutes now remaining in the first half.
And again, I think you discussed that loss to Ludlow 2-1 in their last game. I think there might be some residual effects of that one, because it does look like they're a little bit cautious in this game. And again, you know, losing that prior to coming into this must-win really can factor into the mentality of a lot of these players.
Well, at the outset of this one, both teams appeared to be a little tight, and which is not surprising given the magnitude of this game. It's a big match for these two teams.
Right.
Regular season finale, a lot on the line. Senior night for the Norwalk Bears, so a lot going into this one, and a terrific crowd here this afternoon as Norwalk has an opportunity, and that is a goal for William Gaviria. As we take another look at it, great job by our crew.
And it looks like what was a great slip from Michael Hidalgo. Plays it into Gaviria, who just taps it with that right foot, with the toe. He doesn't care what part of the foot it hits.
We're going to take it. We're going to take another look at that goal got by Gaviria. We will take a look at that goal at the half. Here is Hidalgo.
Great tackle from Charlie Sears. Ow, and that is a nasty tackle. Somehow escapes with a yellow card. I do not know how. That was Matthew Hernandez with a shockingly bad tackle on Charlie Sears.
So it'll be a free kick here for Sears. Darien down. One nothing with about 3:07 remaining.
Yeah, that was a real, as they say, potentially leg-breaking tackle there. It was just, as I used, shocking. There's no real other way to describe it. That was really nasty from the Norwalk player. In some games could very easily be a red card. Good skill from Connor Olson there. And a foul from the Norwalk defender as Sears will look to knock another one in.
So we are under 3 minutes remaining in the first half. 1-0 Norwalk on a Gaviria goal.
Just as we were talking, Damien, the game, started off pretty cautiously by both sides. After that Norwalk goal, it's really going to open up from this point on. And that's a great ball from Charlie Sears. And I'd have to see a replay on that, but that was a pretty poor tackle on Connor Olson in the box.
Here's another look at that play. Olson just can't quite get to it.
He might have nicked the ball there. It's tough to see. Darien obviously calling for the penalty on this one, and it looks like their patience with the referees is really running out.
Free corner kick here for Darien, and a nice play by Gianluca Trofa, the Norwalk Bears senior captain, as he clears that. Yeah, you can tell since that goal the intensity, and that was a lightning quick strike by the Bears late in this first half.
Yeah, and it's changed the intensity from the Norwalk players. We saw that really rough challenge on Charlie Sears. We see the fans really into this one now, which is always nice to see from a neutral perspective, as Darien looked to, again, play one in. Oh, and that's a lucky clearance from Norwalk. Tripatelli playing that one in off the right flank, and we have another corner.
Nearly an own goal.
It was, and again, I couldn't see who that Norwalk defender was, but it looked like it just came off his right knee and then went behind his leg. He really had no idea where that one was.
Iovane Robledo.
Oh.
And let's take another look at that. Here's the header that just goes over the crossbar. Nice work by our crew. Great work, guys. Time ticking away here in the first half, under a minute remaining. 1-0 Norwalk Bears in a game that they need to win to assure themselves a spot in the FCIAC tournament.
That was Cole Bronco with a header in that kind of messy box area that just kisses the top of the crossbar. You could see his frustration as he kind of stayed on the grounds there for a few seconds. He knew that would have been such a huge goal to peg one back just before the half.
And that will just about do it for this first half here between Darien and Norwalk. And what a first half it is. Late goal by the Norwalk Bears on a breakaway by Will Gaviria. And that's the way it is at the half. We are going to take a break. We'll be back with second half action here live from Testa Field on the DAF Media Network. Again, Norwalk up 1-0 over the Darien Blue Wave in the regular season finale for both teams. We'll be back. We are back here on the DAF Media Network at the half, about ready to start the second half. Norwalk up 1-0 thanks to this goal by Will Gavidia. As we take a look at this.
And again, that's a beautiful slip in from Hidalgo there.
Hidalgo with a nice pass. And that was a really tough play for Christian Plumby. Christian Plumby, the the Darien goalie. Damian Andrew, Eric Cannigan joining you. Thanks for joining us on the DAF Media Network. Our production crew, Sarah Bogdan, our director. Camera 1, George Holtz. Camera 2, Camera 2, Harrison Nichols. And our instant replay coordinator tonight, Chase Gulick.
Well, Damian, if there wasn't enough for the Wave to play for at the beginning of this game, this second half, really, they have no other option than to go all out. And I'm sure John's tactical instructions in this one were that they needed to really peg one back early to give them a chance to come out with 3 points. But, you know, they did not do themselves any favors. But, oh, I thought that was almost out for a corner. But, you know, Darien really need to push in this second half.
So Norwalk in the green unis, Darien in the white unis. Darien will be moving from right to left on your screen. Norwalk from left to right here in this second half. Bears up 1-0 thanks to a late first half goal by Will Gavidia, the junior, for the Norwalk Bears on a beautiful breakaway. Nice assist from Michael Hidalgo. Michael Hidalgo, by the way, how about this 4-year varsity starter here at Norwalk, along with Matthew Hernandez, the 2 4-year varsity starters. That's impressive. That's saying something about the talent of both of those individuals.
Really impressive, and something you see as 4 years go on in high school is, you know, players will really, great block there from Darien by Freeman, really start to bulk up physically. So to be able to start as a freshman, you know, speaks to that level of talent and skill that they have, because you can have some smaller players play at a high level if they're able to, you know, perform technically, which he clearly can and still is as a senior. And Darien just managed to get that ball out. Took a lot of effort there. We saw a punch from Plumby in net.
Nice punch there by Plumby. And here's Norwalk as they try to keep it in the Darien half.
And I briefly mentioned in the first half, it looks like Marson was deployed a little deep in midfield. John looks to have played him at striker, which was a curious decision in my opinion to start. You know, he is a goal scorer, so to have played him in midfield seemed a little interesting to me. But now that they need a goal or even two, he's not messing around anymore, and he has him playing striker.
Eric, let me have you put on your coach's hat here for a second. What do you think was said first in the Darien huddle at the half, and then second, what was said in the Norwalk huddle at the half, if you had to take a gander?
Yeah, and I've heard a number of John Bradley team talks at halftime, and I can imagine all he said was, if you guys want any chance of playing in FCIAC, so you need to give it your all here. This is really your...
And that ball sails wide of the near post as we take another look at this.
Yeah, John had to have raised the potential that these boys are missing out on such a crucial tournament, such a great tournament to play in. From the Norwalk perspective, I think Lawton probably told his players that they need to keep doing what they were doing and build on that momentum that they got at the end of the second half and really hope to get another goal. You know, they don't look to be sitting back, as we can see in the second half already. They want to put this one to bed as early as possible, give these seniors something to celebrate, and, you know, go marching into the FCIAC playoffs.
Really great point, Eric. You can tell they are attacking and they are not sitting back.
And it speaks to the coaching, the tactics, and really the mentality of these two teams. I think if we saw Darien sneak a goal or get a goal off their good play in the first half, I think you would have seen them come out in the second half very cautiously, perhaps packing more men in the midfields. That's just John Bradley's way of doing things, and to be fair, he's very effective at it. However, Norwalk are going to look to use that skill and ability to keep possession and hopefully close this game out as quickly as possible.
Personal shout out from me to my 11-year-old son Aiden, who is watching this matchup and flipping back and forth between this and Game 1 of the World Series up in Boston. Red Sox, Dodgers having at it tonight in Game 1.
I heard they have the same viewership, actually.
Yeah.
So it's nice that he's tuning in, actually.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for watching this DAF Media broadcast. So happy to be able to bring it to you, as this will go back to Plumby, and he launches one across midfield.
We see John made another tactical move there, pushing Sears up, Charlie Sears that is, into the center midfield spot. Again, he's so composed on the ball. He's talented, that all FCIAC player last year, and he's going to look to use that composure in the midfield to hopefully play some balls through the middle. And again, this is just such a monumental game for both sides.
It's funny. We've said that. We've used all kinds of adjectives, right, throughout this broadcast about this game. But let's face it, it's a win, move on, lose, don't go home, because you got the state tournament.
Right.
Both of these teams have qualified for the state tournament. They will be heading there. But winner gets a chance to play in the conference tournament, and the loser does not. So it is a big game, and it doesn't always play out this way. But this season it plays out this way. The final regular season game between these two just happens to mean a whole lot.
Yeah, and I'm running short on adjectives. I should have brought a thesaurus, actually. But like you said, there's just something special about that FCIAC tournament. You're playing games in towns that are closer by. It really allows for a lot of the fans to come out after school to watch these matches. And again, they're teams you played against in the regular season, ones that may have beaten you before. You want to get that win over them and have the final say in a tough matchup, in a meaningful matchup. So it really would be hard to swallow for a lot of these players to miss out on FCIACs. Connor Olsen with the throw there. And a lot of time spent in that Norwalk half so far. But really all it takes for this Norwalk team is one opportunity, as we saw from Gaviria in the first half, who could slot one home against the run of play. And Freeman, it looks like, is taking this long throw. Looks to play one back in. Oh,
and
my.
Hits the crossbar.
That was Jack Hawley with the curling effort.
Let's take another look at this. Great work by our crew.
And he just wraps his foot around that one and smacks the crossbar. I mean, how frustrating for this Wave defense. They must be wondering whether or not they need to do a cartwheel for this ball to go in. It's just been so hard tonight. But, John, I just saw him. He was clapping his hands. He's off his seat. He's applauding this team. He knows how much they're putting in. But again, Norwalk, just end-to-end stuff here. Oh,
and
my.
That nearly goes in. We're going to take another look at that. I think we have it here. Yeah, bang, bang play. That goes over the crossbar.
We saw Otalvaro on the right flank putting a lot of pressure on that Wave D, and it's just end-to-end stuff. I mean, this is such a great game from a neutral perspective. And Darien are just going to keep pushing as much as they can. They know an opportunity will fall for them if they keep putting these chances on net or near net with the crossbar in the last one.
Wow. back and forth, crossbar, crossbar.
I think it was in the span of 60 seconds, if that, Damien. I mean, this is a really special game.
And here's Norwalk again.
Oltavaro again on the right wing.
Otavaro, just a sophomore, bright future for Norwalk. And somehow, Lance Garcia able to keep that in.
Yeah, great back heel. I mean, that just so skillful to be able to do that under pressure. But Will Henry Harmon steps up and turns that ball back to the wave attack.
Here's Marson.
Oh, and that should be a foul. Marson. Oh, and he just plays it over the crossbar. That should be on target at the very least.
Great work by our crew, and that sails over the crossbar. So a couple of big opportunities for Darien, an opportunity for Norwalk that sailed over the crossbar. Bang, bang plays as these two teams going all out right near what you would expect in this one.
And you don't like to see this. It looks like Matthew Hernandez, who was on the wrong side of an awful tackle on Charlie Sears, really taking his time to waste some time to get off the pitch. It's poor sportsmanship, and you saw Sears trying to help him off as quickly as possible. You never like to see that at this level. Great clearance from Palumbi. But again, you can already see Lawton is looking to kill some time off the clock with some substitutions, or at the very least, give their team a breather. But again, Matthew Hernandez, it's just been a shocking night for him, from the tackle to his theatrical exit off stage, and it's not something you'd like to see in what is otherwise a great game. Marson with an askew pass there.
Want to give a quick shout out to Norwalk High School Athletic Director Doug Marchetti and his entire team for allowing us to set up shop here in the Testa Field press box, a terrific facility, lots of room. We're inside, away from the elements. And Olsen goes down as he tries to get off a shot.
And the refs really need to step in to make sure this doesn't get out of hand. We've seen a number of tough challenges. I think John Bradley was directing the referee to Connor Olsen laying on the ground. He thought that was a foul from the Norwalk goalkeeper. And this free kick will give Norwalk some breathing room.
Here's Garcia. And Plumby fields that.
We've seen a number of times when Norwalk has the ball in hacking position, you'll see the ball will go towards the Norwalk forward. They'll have time to collect. They'll pass it back to a midfielder in a more retreated position, and you'll see the wingers kind of sprint past the Darien defender who has stepped up, and there's so much space behind. I remember they used to do that back when I played my senior season. They just create so much space for those wingers, and it's really hard to defend. So looks like the coaching style is still in full effect, and it's just a really effective tactic from them.
And again, Norwalk is coached by Chris Lawton in his 13th season as the Bears head coach. And as we've mentioned a couple of times tonight, he has really done a terrific job through the years with this program.
We've seen so far Plumby has been forced into the position of sweeper keeper. As Oltavaro is caught offsides. It looked like just barely. Darien players will be relieved that that call was made because he was in so much space.
Norwalk's last trip to the state finals They won it all in 2012. So Coach Lawton has a state championship on his resume here at Norwalk. They beat Prep in the Class LL state finals in 2012. 2-0 was the final. The last time they won a state championship before that, you have to go all the way back to 1966. They won the Class L state championship. But an entertaining match this evening here at Testa Field under the lights. Great atmosphere. You can hear the crowd in the background. And the student section here at Norwalk in full force.
Oh!
And that's a goal. Wow.
What a strike from Marson. That is absolutely unbelievable. We'll see the replay here.
Oh, great work by our crew. Wow.
What a fantastic goal from Marson. You cannot place that any better. You cannot strike that any better. And Charlie Sears stomps the ball down on the 50, and you can tell Norwalk is incredibly frustrated with that. Sammy gave him a little shove. But, I mean, oh, how the tides have turned here in the second half.
I was getting lulled to sleep there, waxing poetic about the last time Norwalk won a state championship. And just like that, you got to be so focused on this match. Just like that, the way things have gone here in the second half, back and forth. And Marson unleashes
an absolute rocket.
A rocket that is the equalizer to this point.
I mean, Trofa acrobatically dove to his left-hand side, but there was nothing he could do about that. That ball went flying into his left corner. And you can hear these Norwalk fans are getting very frustrated. But, I mean, what a strike from Marson. I've heard John Bradley a number of times talk about what a great shot this boy has. And if you need any more evidence, all you have to do is rewind and watch that one again, because that was a special goal. Norwalk's ball just goes out of bounds on that far side. Does Darien make a substitution? Looks like Connor Olson has come off. And Pacheco, number 29, has come on in his place. As Freeman plays that ball upfield. And they are really looking to try and get Marson or Pacheco the ball again. But this Darien defense has to be cautious. Mistakes like these. And great cleanup work from Jack Hawley. And that's a tactical foul from Pacheco. Norwalk take it quick. Sammy looks to have played the ball in, but Darien managed to get that one out. As the referee calls a foul, it looks like Cole Bronca on the receiving end of that call. As Norwalk have a free kick in a very dangerous area here. The senior Plumby will hope to deal with this one effectively, and they have a very creative set piece there. As Hidalgo just recovers the ball. And Jack Hawley just gets that ball out of bounds. But again, very, very nifty play from Norwalk on that set piece. As Darien looked to play the ball to the opposite end, Pacheco just runs past him. Oltavaro just hobbles. Looks like he might have caught a foot there, but he's giving Darien so many problems on this near side. And Marson, the goal scorer, points upfield. He is ready. He is trying to get this Darien team upfield to hopefully notch another one. I mean, we're at a score line where we initially started. We are tied in a game where Darien needs to win to qualify for this FCIAC tournament. And they have responded so well in this second half.
I want to apologize. We had some clock issues. We have resolved them. What a match. Tied at 1. First half goal from Norwalk's Will Gavidia, and a second half goal from Darien's Max Marson.
Just such a tremendous response from these Darien players. Again, you can see circumstances where a team goes down at the very end of the first half and just folds and crumbles in the second half. Not a team under John Bradley. They're going to play the full 80 minutes here and really push Norwalk as far as they can possibly go.
Now, if this match ends up in a tie, you and I were briefly talking about this, we just throw our papers up in the air, and there's a lot of different things that can play out in terms of the FCIAC playoff picture.
Yeah, exactly, and I think a draw would actually depend on the McMahon results, who are up in Bridgeport today. Bridgeport typically find themselves, or this season have found themselves towards the bottom of the table, and a great tackle there from Darien. But yeah, a draw would really just complicate things, and I'd probably have to get a calculator out, and it just wouldn't be very fun for anyone.
It wouldn't be fun.
That was Will Henry Harmon with the great tackle leading up to this possession from Darien.
Darien, by the way, has never won an FCIAC championship, as that ball sails wide of the far post. Never won an FCIAC championship. Been to the state finals once.
I think they were actually in the FCIAC finals 2015 as well.
They were. They were.
John, the same year that they made the state finals, so obviously a strong season, but that must have been a tough one to swallow for John, getting so far, so close. But
interesting how that works, right? Norwalk, for example, their last FCIAC title, as I mentioned at the outset of the second half, came in 2012. They shared it with Ridgefield. They also won a state championship that very same year. So sometimes what you do in the conference tournament can lend itself to what you do in the state tournament.
Absolutely.
Doesn't always work out that way, but sometimes you can get on a roll in the postseason, and it's all about getting in, right? You hear it in a lot of different sports, and a lot of different people say this. It's about getting in, and then you never know what can happen. And soccer is the type of sport where 1 through 8, any of those teams capable of making a run in the conference tournament.
Right, absolutely. And again, such strong teams in the FCIAC.
And speaking of runs, Norwalk on another run there as they continue to attack. We are now midway through the second half, under 20 minutes remaining. And again, a shout out to our DAF Media production crew. Camera 1, George Holt. Camera 2, Harrison Nichols. Our instant replay coordinator tonight, Chase Gulick, and our director, sitting in that seat for the very first time and doing a terrific job, is Sarah Bogdan. Damian Andrew alongside Eric Cannigan, former Darien Blue Wave soccer standout. And the Blue Wave in the white on this plush green turf at Testa Field, and Norwalk in the green unis. Darien moving from right to left here in the second half. Norwalk from left to right. And this has been everything you could ask for in a game of this magnitude. Regular season finale with a spot in the conference tournament on the line.
And this is just getting really physical in the midfield, which is great to see. I mean, Marson there able to hold off the Norwalk defender, showing his strength. As Olsen, I think, knocks the ball off Norwalk for a Darien corner, and yes, it is on that far side. Sears is going to look to play this one in. And again, all it takes is one moment from Darien here, and this fixture is flipped on its head from the very end of that first half when everything looked... Oh, that's a great ball. Falls back to Olsen, who looks to strike one. I think he should have played that one out wide to be able to curl another in. Great to see Sears and Gaviria high five there. Talent, recognizing talent. Freeman takes another throw on the far side. I'm sorry, Jacob Grimm is now going to take it as Freeman heads into the box. It looks like John is going to take or try and utilize that extra height. And Charlie Sears, on a very difficult half volley opportunity, just scuffs it a little far to the left, the goalkeeper's right post. As Trofa will look to take a bit of a breather here. Norwalk making some subs. As we approach just under 16 minutes in this second half. Great header from Harmon. And a great play from Harmon on that left side, just to shield that ball out, give Darien another throw. Oh, and a great ball over the top. Oh, and Connor Olsen had an opportunity. He really should have taken that first time. I don't know what he was waiting for. He's looking for a foul, but there was no foul there. That was such a great ball from Liam Flaherty over the top. Fell to Connor Olsen. He's really just got to put a foot through that. Hopefully across the goalkeeper, but he took an extra touch and Norwalk was able to shut him down. And fortunately for Darien, a foul called. Looked like Freeman was the one who was on the receiving end of that challenge. As both Darien and Norwalk fans are getting more vocal as the seconds tick down. Sears is looking to play this one in over the top. Great long ball. Fortunately, Jacob Grimm can't do much about that one as it goes for a Norwalk goal kick. Freeman just gets that one to Charlie Sears off the knee. He won't mind, but again, the ball rolls to Trofa, who's taking some time here on the goal kick, or what will be a punt, rather. That is a bomb of a drop kick. Freeman heads it over to Harmon, who handles that very well.
Here's Hidalgo on the far side of the field. And Plumby with the drop kick across midfield. Damian Andrew, Eric Cannigan joining you on the DAF Media Network. Thanks for being with us in what has been a really spectacular soccer match between these two FCIAC rivals. I'm sorry, that's not Freeman. Grimm.
Oh, and look at Marson. Some skillful play there. And it almost falls back to him. And Cole Bronca will look to sweep this one up as he passes it back to Plumby.
And that was a nice defensive effort by Pablo Jimenez, another sophomore. Norwalk has had some underclassmen make some significant contributions in this match.
That's always great to see. You see Will Harmon helping stretch the Norwalk player out. Looks like he may have just cramped up there. Fortunately, high school rules means that the clock is stopped due to the injury on the field.
And we will take a quick break here as we've got a stoppage in play. Match tied at 1 between Darien and Norwalk. We'll be right back on the DAF Media Network. We are back here on the DAF Media Network after a brief stoppage in play. Darien and Norwalk back at it now, under 12 minutes remaining here in this game. Still tied at 1. Norwalk with a first half goal by Will Gaviria, and Darien with a second half goal by Max Marson, and an absolute bomb. The throw in on the near side of the field as the Blue Wave looks to continue to apply pressure here.
And I think it was Gaviria, the goal scorer for Norwalk, who had to come off due to the injury. And Hernandez, who has been on the wrong side of pretty much every critical interaction he's had tonight. He is back on the field. Hopefully, we don't have to see any more tackles from him. As Marson uses his body wisely. Lays in the back of the Norwalk player. It's Pablo Jimenez who drew the foul there from Marson. What a header from Will Harmon. That was a physical challenge he put in, and Marson again looks to strike from range.
And that is a stop by Trofa.
It looked like Liam Flaherty, who sent one in on his left foot. Not enough power behind that one. Great header from Freeman. But Will Harmon, I actually had the pleasure of speaking to before the game. I know he's one of your favorite names on the score sheet every week. He made a point that they're really looking to play to win this game. I think that might have quoted the Herm Edwards, but he's really looking to play with that high intensity and continue to put in those tough challenges like he has done so far this game.
And again, I just want to thank everybody who has tuned in to watch this. We have a number of views Over 80 views right now watching this live, under 10 minutes remaining, and why not watch it? I mean, this has been terrific, very entertaining between two quality teams, a lot of talent on the pitch, and we are tied at 1. And that shot sails well wide of the far post on the Tripatelli, uncorks one.
Trofa in no rush to take this goal kick as the clock just ticks under 9 minutes to go here. That is plenty of time for this Darien team. You can see the bench is now on their feet, off the bench, I should say. They know the significance of this one. John Bradley knows the significance of this one. These players must know at this point. Connor Olsen takes it down the right flank and plays one over the top. Great header from Norwalk.
Eric, let me ask you this. I don't want to put you on the spot. Is it a much simpler equation? We're trying to get some idea of what that McMahon score is. If this ends in a tie, I guess we need to know if McMahon wins or loses. That will help us sort things out a little bit more.
Yeah, again, it would make it a lot easier for us. Looking at the standings, though, a McMahon draw, I think, would keep them safe. But if Bridgeport Central, again, not one of the toughest opponents in the FCIAC, happen to beat McMahon and Darien get a point, I believe that would put Darien at 26, McMahon at 25. So I think they would squeak in the 8th spot. But, again, I don't know how likely that is. Although, to be fair, that Central team in their last outing hosted top-of-the-table Trumbull and just narrowly lost 2-1. Again, some of these teams may have been resting their starters in that Trumbull game, for instance. But obviously McMahon know that they really want to at least get a point to secure a spot. John Bradley makes another sub here as Freeman takes the throw. Looks like Cole Bronca is taking a rest. And some frustration from Darien there as Norwalk just managed to shield the ball for a goal kick. As we approach the 6.5-minute mark, Darien really need to start throwing everything ends the kitchen sink at this Norwalk defense. Again, perhaps someone knows the score of the Bridgeport McMahon game, but regardless, a goal would just end any uncertainty as the ball rolls to Plumby.
So thanks to DAF Media's own Ethan Haas, we now know that McMahon did win this afternoon, and that means they clinch a berth in the FCIAC tournament as that ball rolls wide of the near post there. Under 6 minutes remaining.
Yeah, and so, again, fortunately, the offside call spares Darien, although Plumby did make a good save and the ball went wide anyways. But some great inside research there. Thank you, Damien, for providing that info, or relaying it, I should say. But that win for McMahon will put them on 28 points. And again, Darien's sitting at 25. They need a win here. There's no rhyme or reason. They just have to get one more goal in the remaining 5 minutes, and they really haven't looked to be too close so far. But Norwalk, again, taking advantage. Oh, and that's a great tackle. Taking advantage of all that extra space since Darien has been pushing upfield.
So I am now being told by FCIAC Commissioner Dave Schulz via a text here that if this ends up in a 1-1 tie, Norwalk is in, Darien is out by virtue of that McMahon win this afternoon over Central 5-1.
Correct, yes, and that would put McMahon clear on points.
So this game is tied at 1, but right now, in terms of the FCIAC playoff picture, Norwalk with the upper hand here at home. If this one with 4 minutes now remaining ends in a tie, Darien would be out because of that McMahon win this afternoon.
Correct, and again, I think Darien realize, I don't know that they know that McMahon score, nor that it matters to them. They know they need a win here, and you can tell they're really pushing everyone upfield. I think we see another Norwalk injury now as the clock is finally stopped. Tripitelli was getting very frustrated there. Another Norwalk injury.
And we will take a quick break as we've got a stoppage in play here. 3:37 remaining in the game. We are tied at 1. We'll be right back. We are back here on the DAF Media Network. Under 4 minutes remaining in this match between Darien and Norwalk. Tied at 1. Just an outstanding soccer match this evening at Testa Field. Under the lights, great atmosphere, great crowd. Damian Andrew, Eric Cannigan joining you. Thanks for joining us. And as we and that shot sails over the crossbar. Hidalgo, he wanted it as he puts his hands on his head.
Darien really have no time to waste here. Sears is going to look to get this ball up as far as possible on the goal kick. But all Norwalk are doing and all they need to do is hold the ball.
Yeah, if you're Norwalk right now, Eric, you're essentially playing keep away, right?
Yeah, and I'm not quite sure what Plumby was doing. Oh, he was offside. He was trying to gather the ball. Yeah, they can play keep ball, but it looks like they have enough talent and have been trying to, and another Norwalk injury. The clock has been stopped again. We'd previously seen Pablo Jimenez come off on the prior injury. But, yes, Damien, they can look to play keep ball, although it really looks like they're trying to exploit the space that Darien has left because of these circumstances. They know that Darien and John know that they just have to get the players upfield regardless of how much space that leaves open. And there's no alternative. I mean, if they want to play FCIAC playoffs, they need to notch a goal in the next 2.5 minutes, and Norwalk have kept them at bay rather successfully thus far.
And you're taking a look at Charlie Sears, who had a hat trick in Darien's last win, but he's certainly not thinking about that now.
Oh, that's a really soft call. The ref saw Will Henry Harmon's arms up on the Norwalk player. I suppose you can call it, but again, at a time like this, it's unfortunate.
2:10 now remaining in the match.
Falls back to Plumby. Marson with a good touch. Tripitelli with a nice turn and looks to immediately play it wide. And I think that's Jack Hawley. Just gets there. Jacob Grin on the left. John Reed tries to play one in, but unsuccessfully.
And nearly a breakaway for Norwalk.
Freeman just picks that up as we approach a minute and a half. Unlucky from Harmon. And
under a minute 30 now remaining in this one.
And Norwalk making a sub to take some seconds off the clock. I believe the referee stopped it. As the Norwalk goal scorer, Gaviria, comes back following his injury. Norwalk fans in full voice here. Freeman just gets that strong tackle in. That's a great play. And Charlie Sears is pushing up past midfield. Tries to scoop one. That was a pretty poor challenge. And they look to play the advantage.
The cross.
Oh.
And you had said it in the first half. This place does come alive. And Norwalk sensing it right now as you can hear the fans.
Norwalk fans getting very loud, but to be fair, Darien's are as well. The girls' team are here letting these boys know that they're going to cheer until the very last second. As we approach the very last second, we have
We're under 20 seconds
to go. Norwalk just managed to get this out, and I think that might just be enough.
Our clock is about 10 seconds ahead of the actual game clock. You can see the double zeros in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, and that does it as this one ends in a 1-1 tie. Darien, Norwalk, and that's the way it ends, and that essentially ends Darien's hopes of a spot in the FCIAC tournament. As you see the players showing the sportsmanship out on the field right now. So it ends 1-1, Darien and Norwalk.
And I have to say, I think it was a very interesting decision by John Bradley to put Marson in at midfield for the first half. You saw what a strike he has on him. To not play a quality attacking player like that up top to begin with when they knew they needed a win, it just doesn't make too much sense to me. You saw a very physical game on both sides, a couple of nasty challenges.
We are going to take a look at the goals in this one. And this was the Norwalk goal in the first half on a breakaway. Great pass by Michael Hidalgo to Will Gavidia as we take another look from our ISO camera.
Again, I think he just nutmegs the Darien defender. And Gavidia, very composed, manages to slide it past Plumby and net.
And we are going to take a look now at the Max Marson goal. This one just an absolute blast from the 25-yard line that just sneaks in. Great work by our DAF media production crew. Want to give a shout out to them again. Camera 1, George Holt. Camera 2, Harrison Nichols. Our director was Sarah Bogdan. And Chase Gulick was on our instant replay. Well, Eric, disappointing end for the Blue Wave as this one finishes up tied at 1, but what an entertaining soccer match this evening under the lights at Testa Field.
Yeah, this was a really special night, more so for Norwalk at the end of this one. Darien will come out of this incredibly disappointed, but great end-to-end attacking from both sides. You saw a number of chances that could have fallen for Darien. I believe they hit the crossbar maybe 2 times during this match. But again, you know, it's about finishing your opportunities, and Darien shouldn't have had to pour every man upfield in the last few seconds. They really had they could have had a better showing in the first half, and I think John might have to reflect on those tactics and hopefully learn from this going forward into the state tournament.
So for Eric Cannigan, I am Damian Andrew. Again, the final score of this one, a 1-1 tie between Darien and Norwalk. You've been watching the DAF Media Network, a joint venture of the Darien Athletic Foundation and the Darien Foundation. And that'll wrap things up here from Testa Field under the lights in Norwalk. Again, this one ends in a 1-1 tie. Have a great night, everybody. Take care.